Hey everybody, so in light of our current circumstances, today we're going to continue talking about dry fire. The post that I made on social media to get some drills was so that I could try and break that drill down so that we can see what you actually need to complete that drill. And I'm glad one of the comments that we got was the press, because there's actually quite a lot that happens in that drill, and there's a lot that you can take from that drill into individual segments and then work on those further. Now, obviously, before we continue, I want to remind everybody to please be responsible. We are still handling firearms. Make sure you're following all of the normal safety precautions. And you complement that by having no live ammunition in your dry fire workspace. So, instead of me teaching everybody how you can get faster at just doing the press, what we're going to do is we're going to take the press and break it down into segments. So, I've got my timer set to 3.5 par here. I've established that that's the par time I can meet. And I'll do it for you quickly, and then we can look at what individual components make up the press, the drill itself. Okay, so I met the par time, everything went well. Now, starting at the beginning of the press, obviously you've got the turn and draw, which is essentially your index, and there's quite a lot that happens just within that part of doing the press. I'm not going to go and break down the turn and draw for you into all its different compartments, but what I'd suggest you do is have a look at the way Steve Anderson presents the technique for the turn and draw. That's probably the most efficient and easiest method to learn to get some speed gains going in your turn and draw. From there, obviously, okay, the two most important things that come through in your turn and draw is, number one, going to be getting your head turned to the target as soon as possible. The sooner you do that, the sooner your shoulders will start turning towards the target. And from there, the second most important thing is getting your hand from that wrists above shoulders position down to the gun. Getting those two things done as soon as possible is going to significantly improve your speed gains and the efficiency you have in your turn and draw. From there, you've obviously got several transitions between targets. Then you've got a reload, and once again engaging each target with 2 rounds and the transitions within that. So in order to break that down, so what I would suggest you do is take the press, make it your baseline. Okay, this is the part time I can currently meet. Take the press, break it into pieces, work on those pieces, and then revisit the press and see what gains you found by breaking it down. So for instance, your turn and draw, start with that. Then you can work on reloads, transitions, pulling the trigger, etc, etc. But what you need to do is actually go through the press and say, well, for me, maybe the thing that's costing me the most time is actually my reloads. Okay, so then I need to go and work on my reloads in a separate environment. And there's a few great drills that you can use to try and improve your reload. You've got the Perquette reloads, you've got the pause and effect reload from Steve Anderson. There's a couple of other micro drills that you can do with it, such as going from an indexed position just to the mag, working on getting that correct. So once you've done those things, you can revisit the press and see, okay, maybe I gained half a second on the press just by working on my reloads. What's next? And normally for most people, the lowest hanging fruit that they can work on is the least sexiest, is your transition times between targets, i.e. from that target to that target. And what you want to do in order to make that more efficient is you want to start getting your eyes ahead of the gun. So once you've found an acceptable sight picture on your target, on your second shot you're going to get your eyes onto the next target and the gun will come along. Now what that's going to do is not only make your your transitions in general more efficient, what it's going to do is it's going to make your transitions more consistent. So you'll get the gun from the current spot that you're onto the new spot with more consistency and accuracy than what you would by tracking the sights. Or in other words, looking at the sights while you go in between targets. Not only is that slow, it's actually inconsistent. What you'll find is that you're going to short transition. In other words, you will stop the gun sooner than what you should on the next target, or you're going to overtrack. In other words, you're going to go past the target and have to come back to it. So getting your eyes ahead of the gun on the target transitions is a vital part of your transitions. The last thing that you're really going to need to work on is how fast you're manipulating the trigger in the drill. That's going to yield the least significant speed gains for you in that environment. But if you break down the drill into these segments, so you've got the turn and draw, which can be further broken down. Then you've got transitions in between targets, which is probably the first thing most people should work on. From there, you've got a reload, and then once again, you've got more transitions. So the bulk of that drill in time saving can be target transitions. You've got 1-2 transitions per string of fire, if you want to call it that. So from the turn and draw, you've got 1 transition, 2 transition, reload, 1 transition, 2 transition. You've got 4 transitions in one drill. If you were to work on gains and find something within that that gives you a better result, then you're going to be in a position where you're saving what you've learned and drilled in a separate environment 4 times in one drill. So I hope what I've discussed here today helps everybody. You need to be aware of what you're doing in dry fire, understand the drills that you're doing, and what I found works the best, if you're pretty new to dry fire or you want to work on segments of dry fire, in other words broken down skills, the book that I found the best for that is going to be the Steve Anderson Refinement and Repetition book. That one breaks everything down nicely. If you follow those 12 commandments of dry fire, it's going to give you some results. And remember, don't do the number of repetitions on the drill. Set your phone timer for anything between 2 and 5 minutes, and then work on that drill before moving on to the other. And then just be aware of what you're doing in dry fire, break it down, think about what you're doing, think about what you could be doing better, and think about the realistic side. Work on the things that the time is telling you that you're not doing well enough, maybe you're not doing it efficiently enough, maybe not consistently enough. Be aware of those things, work on them. Sometimes it's not fun, but if you want to see some results, you have to work on the stuff that's not fun at the time. Once you start learning it and seeing some gains, it becomes exciting, it gets fun. So bear with it, be aware of it, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. Other than that, we're going to see you on the range soon, I hope. Stay safe,